Hey friends, welcome to a small cosplay vlog. I don't know when eventually I will use this, but I am going to attempt to create the Huntress cosplay from Dead by Daylight, and I am about to start a charity stream where I'm going to begin to attempt to make that, and I just wanted to record it in case I use it for a future vlog. So I'm about to show you what I've got, and I guess there'll be parts of the stream and then you will possibly see the final product and what worked and what didn't. This mask, I'm just going to cut it like at the top lip because hers comes down, and then I'm going to add some forming foam to get more of the bunny shape of her mask. Also got some foil here which I'm going to use to shape the ears of the mask. I'm going to go over it with some forming foam and then probably hot glue that to the top. Hopefully that will work. On top of that, I've also got some black fabric here which will go behind the eye so you can't really see the eyes, but it will also go down the back to cover my hair and stuff when I wear it. And yeah, that's what I've got so far. I've got some foam over that way on the coffee table down there that I'll basically use for the axe. I do also have some dowel in the laundry, so some wooden sticks, and maybe that will be a bit more structure. I don't know how that's gonna go. I am gonna buy a Dremel in future, and hopefully it can all come together, but I have no idea if this is gonna work, so we'll see.
As I said, this is just going to be footage that I have taken and time-lapsed from the stream itself. The very first thing that I did was, as I said, cut the mask at the top lip. I thought that would be the easiest way to start and just get a general shape of the mask before I started adding anything. Next, I got the foam clay and started molding it for the nose. I think this was one of the parts that I wasn't happy with because it was very cold, and the way that the foam clay was drying, it was drooping a little bit and wasn't keeping the shape. So the initial pointy nose of the mask was coming through. Next, as you can see, I got the aluminium foil and shaped that into the ears for the mask. It was probably the easiest part. I did just have to measure where exactly I wanted the ear that was cut off. I then covered them with foam clay and hot glued them to the head of the mask. As I was on stream, I wanted to get things done as quickly as possible, so I got out my heat gun and tried to dry the foam. This was both good and bad because it did dry rather quickly, but it also made the foam bubble in some places, especially because the foil itself retained some of the heat. I then did a couple of coats of paint because I wanted to see how well it kind of molded into the shape and whether I needed to cover the rest of the mask with the foam clay as well. When it came to painting the ears, I had to be careful because of the bubbling in some places, and it did turn out kind of veiny. I don't know why. You can kind of see after I paint the second ear, but I liked the texture of that, and I was glad that it was holding shape as well as it did. I didn't include it in this video specifically, but I did also paint the pink on the inside of the ears and some pink on the nose, as well as some cracks too. This will be shown in the next clip. This is what the bunny mask looked like at the end of the stream. I did go for 10 hours, so I did make quite a bit of progress. However, I knew at this point that I needed more.
So this is a day later, and as you can see, the foam clay has actually dried. It's pretty smooth, I would say. I am going to give it one coat of paint to just see how those little ridges end up. I'm also going to dust it down with some eyeshadow and stuff to make it a little bit more grimy in the end, so it's dirty like Huntress's actual mask in the game. But I think it's coming together. I'm going to see if I end up buying a Dremel, if I can sort of sand down these little bits a little bit. But yeah, for now, I'm liking how it's turning out. And I think I made the right choice by shaping the bunny face a little bit more on the mask with the foam clay. Yeah.
In between this time, I did paint the rest of the mask, covering the foam clay that I had just laid down, and realized that I left some holes around the eyes and between the nose and the cheeks. I did cover that with foam and then left it to dry, also cutting around the eyes and making them bigger in the process. I once again painted the entire thing white and started on the shading.
Right now is I've added some paint. It looks a little bit dodgy. I am going to go over it with some more white so it will blend in a little bit more, but I've done some darker parts. I'm gonna add some eyeshadow and stuff because I feel like that'll bring more depth and dust. rather than the paint. It might also blend better, but I've also started cutting into the foam itself so that there is the markings, and then when I add eyeshadow and stuff, it'll fall in there, make them darker, that kind of stuff. I also haven't done the eyebrows yet, and I feel like that's basically what's missing from the face. It looks weird without them, but I just don't know what color to do, and I'm putting off doing it for now. I did some shading with some grays and some blacks around the bunny mask. I also made her nose longer, but I don't like it, so I think I'm actually going to fix that up again and go over it with white paint. For now, I really want to add the black behind the eyes, and so it will cover my face when I actually wear the mask. But yeah, this is the product at the moment, just with more depth and more details and blood and slashes and stuff. But yeah, and the eyes, for the black behind the eyes, I am using this black fabric that I have and my hot glue gun to put it together. So hopefully that will hold, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I ended up gluing the fabric behind the eyes. I don't know if you guys can tell. Oh, it won't focus. I also, while I had the hot glue gun out, added fabric on the back. I know she usually has some floral designs on that piece of fabric, but I don't think I'll be able to make it in time unless I draw something on. It's also a bit long, so I gotta cut it down. But yeah, it's coming together. I think I just want to fix up the nose and add some more detail to the ears and cut the veil short, and I'm pretty happy with it.
And in this part of the video, I was just showing that I trimmed down the veil. I used ALC as a reference for shoulder height, but honestly, you can't really tell.
On the axe, I've cut out 8 of these long rectangle type shapes. At the moment, I've also got a bit of dowel here, which I have trimmed off on the side to try and get a good length that I'm happy with. I did cut a bit longer because I do want quite a big axe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue pieces on top like this. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then it'll go like multiple of them for the length of it. But I'm going to use my Dremel to shave out the little crevice in here where the dowel will go, and so the dowel will be there to strengthen it, and then this would be about the width of the axe, and then I'm going to shave it down so it's more round. I will cut out, using that bit of foam there, the axe head itself, but I need to figure out proportionately how big I want it first. And yeah, that's it. Okay, as well as the big pieces that I've hot glued together, I've got all 4 of them. I have made this big bit, or 2 pieces, which are going to be the axe, and then I've also made some 2 smaller hatchets as well, because she has 2 small hatchets. I did fuck up and accidentally, instead of putting both sides opposite and cutting them out different ways, I traced and cut them out the same way. So I figured out that the Dremel can actually smooth it down. So I tested that, and that's working, although it's not well ventilated in here, so I will do that. Maybe in the morning, I'll see. But yes, I've got 2 hatchets in the work and the big axe as well. I've also bought some fabric for the shawl, and I bought a jumper quite cheap as well. I'm hoping to pick that up over the next couple of days, and I've already got pants, so it's coming together. We are less than a week out from Supernova now. I am doing a bit of a con crunch. I have basically only finished the Huntress mask. I've still got quite a bit to do. I bought some fabric, which I will show you in a moment, to do the shawl and the corset for Huntress, and I have basically got the axe and the little hatchets all cut out, all in foam pieces, all need to be glued together, but I also need to sand them down with a Dremel, and I need to have outside and ventilation for that, so that might be a tomorrow thing, but I'll see if I can do some sewing tonight. Fabric that I am using for the corset and the shawl, I know her shawl is a bit more flowery, but I liked the color of this blue. It is darker than what it looks like on camera. I liked the look of it, and there's quite a bit in length there, and then this orange was like the perfect orange for the corset with not too much detail, So I'm going to use that and we'll see what happens.
I didn't actually record myself sewing this because I was in bed and hand sewing when I did it, but I attached a strip of the orange fabric to the blue and sewed over a little opening on the top of it so I could thread some elastic through it as well and have a little bit of a waistband. I did still want to hem it properly to shape it though.
Now my trusty sewing machine. Yes, it's been a while since I have used it. It is a little bit on the dusty side, but we're going to see if we can figure out the hemming on this shawl and the corset. Look, okay, it's not my best work, but hey, it is hemmed. So practice doing the sewing machine again and actually working on it. So it's coming together okay. This has successfully been hemmed. I don't know if you guys can see it properly. I am about to hot glue it so the elastic can stay together. It does fit over my head. I have tested that. And then I just need to fray the bottom bit, the orange bit, and this should be done. I'm excited. I do still need to, out of focus. I do still need to do the corset though, and I haven't figured out how that's gonna work. So we will see.
I just wanted to record this because I didn't think that I got it at a good angle, but I hemmed down the leg so it was a little more triangular shaped.
I'm about to cut the shapes into this so it's a little bit more frayed. The exact pattern that I was following, but this is what I ended up with. Just sort of like wreckage at the bottom of the hem, and this should be done now.
This is the jumper I decided to use. I bought it on clearance from Big W.
I liked the color on it and how thick the wool was coming down, but now I've got to use some of the orange fabric and basically sew it across the jumper, but I have no idea how I'm going to do that. I think I might hem it with the sewing machine and then maybe hand sew it. I have no idea. Basically, I forgot that the fabric that I'm using is a lot less stretchy than the jumper I'm sewing on. So the jumper stretched, even though I had the measurements correct with the fabric. It fits around my whole body, but when I went to sew it to the jumper stretched and it got not enough jumper fabric in the amount of fabric that I needed, if that makes sense. To, I guess anyone who's sewn before would understand. But yeah, basically I messed up and now I have to go through and undo everything.
So I did buy a Dremel earlier on, but I didn't record myself actually buying it. But now it was time for the axe to come together.
Practice, I think I'll sand these down by hand a little bit more, but I got the shape of the hatchets going, which is what I wanted on both of these. So they're kind of done. Not 100% sure if I'll end up using them, but good practice for the Dremel anyway. I can kind of got a little bit more control right now, but I kind of see the range it has in terms of control, like where I can direct it and how far across. Yeah. Done here is very dodgily cut out this little bit in the foam, and now I'm gonna hot glue the dowel in there. And then when this one's cut out, I'll pop that on top. So it'll be sturdier and easier to hold. Cut out the axe head, mainly because I didn't want to Dremel more than I needed to, and it looked like with the axe head it would be a pain. But I'm going to cut that out in a moment. And for now, I am hot gluing this inside the stem of the axe, and it looks like it's taking, so that's good. Also, don't mind me, I may have sanded my finger. Safety guys, wear gloves. In terms of the axe, this is what I've got so far. Everything's together. It's not 100% accurate, so I do need to get the Dremel out again. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some foam clay around these top bits so it smooths down and fill in any gaps with the foam clay. Then when that dries, probably tomorrow morning, I will get the Dremel out and I'm going to reshape this so it's more circular. And then, yeah, hopefully by then it'll be basically done and just ready to paint. And if I can, I'll try and paint some tomorrow morning and tomorrow night, because it's only 2 days until the con and it's a bit much. Have these hatchets as well, which I'm going to put some foam clay on now too, just to make a little bit more shaped, and I'm not going to round these at all, I don't think, so they'll be ready to paint very soon. I do want to say the jumper is half sewn, so I've already sewn the bottom part of the corset to it, and I've pinned up the rest. I think I'm going to do that. Oh my god, there's stuff on my eye. I think I'm going to do that tonight when I get home from work, because I do have a stream tonight for charity and not much time, but I think I might be able to get the jumper done. So the jumper gets done tonight, then I only have to worry about the axe and the hatchets in the morning and tomorrow night. And then, yeah, Saturday it will be supernova, so hopefully it all comes together very quickly. See, here's what I meant when I said the jumper is all pinned and not sewed. So it's sewed down the bottom here, but it is pinned up the top. So I've got the general shape of it. I just need to what's the word? Sew it. I need to sew it, and then that's basically done. I'll have the foam clay on it. Hopefully it dries by the time I come back from work. I put them on the top where the handle met the axe, and in any crevices that I thought needed filling. Also for these little guys, I just gave some detail by overlapping that there, so there's a little bit of a distinct difference of where the axe head would be to the handle. And yeah, that's done for now. Update as of this morning. I woke up, I have completely sanded down the handle so it's more rounded. Yes, it doesn't look like the shape of her actual axe, but it's more of like a grip, and all of the foam bits are sort of like the same sort of level. I also added some like quick little details that might pop up during the paint. Most of the foam clay has dried. It hasn't dried completely flat, but I kind of don't care at this point. I have also sanded down the edges so it looks like an axe, but I've also put foam clay on the edge as well, just to seal it up a little bit more, and if it doesn't look great with the paint, I'll just paint it to be like blood. And then yeah, I've just done some more general sealing around it with some foam clay. Now I just gotta wait for this to dry, and hopefully I can paint it tonight, and tomorrow morning a few coats and it should be ready. Same with the hatchets. The hatchets are dry. I did fix one up with some more foam clay, and I just gotta paint it. Sewing the jumper, I decided to hand sew. So the top was harder to sew with the machine, so that was all hand sewed. The bottom was sewed with the machine and hand sewed as well. I also stitched up the back down the middle too, so that is at least done. But yeah, jumper done. Well, I need to dirty it, but it's done for now.
My sister Mimi came over the night before, so I didn't actually record myself speaking in this, but I finally got around to painting both the small hatchets and the big axe. They didn't have as much detail in them as I originally wanted because I was running out of time. It was the day before the con. I was just happy I got the grey and the brown, and everything was coming together.
Right now, I'm going over the jumper with some eyeshadow to try and give it more of a dirty look. So this is a start. It's just not spreading as well as I'd hoped, but we'll see what it looks like in a moment.
This is the back of the jumper. I started there because I wanted to practice the dirty strokes first before attacking the front side, and I think they came out okay. Suki was my supervisor, so she was keeping watch.
And this is the front of the jumper. That's almost everything. I think I just want to add some more detail to the axe in the morning on the grey part, and then I think the whole cosplay is done. So I'll see you then. I think apart from this little bit here, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out.
At this point, I finally threw everything on together. I put on some makeup and put my hair up in a way that I could put the mask on and not ruin anything. And we all got ready to finally go to Supernova. When we were there, I was actually quite lucky. A few people asked for some photos, and I was happy to get evidence of how it all came together. I will have another Supernova vlog so you guys can see how it all turned out in that. But we were also lucky that around the showground there was some foresty kind of looking bits, and I was able to get some cool photos and videos in them. I hope you guys like this little vlog on how I made my cosplay, and I hope to see you in the next one. Here's my favorite final photo.